Welcome back. Glad you chose to come back and take a look again at what we're doing here. We're about to talk about the individual chapters that are involved in the actual training program. Now, I do need to let you know that this whole series is about just some examples of the types of things that are more right-brained in nature. But we're basically saying that there are slides that are transformative, and there's some new insights and new ways of thinking, and they're interspersed here and there in the text. So we're showing you a few of them just to give you a little bit of a preview of the kinds of things we talk about, but it's not all of them at all. Okay, so this is the introduction to the American Learnership. It is a trademark that we have in our organization, which means lifelong learning and leading for a mindful way of being. So we do have a trademark of this work that we do. And talking about the Powerhouse Road, because on Powerhouse Road, you start at the end of Powerhouse Road and it brings you down to the powerhouse. And when you get down to the powerhouse, you have all the energy and everything you need to do everything you want in life. So therefore, this is where your journey begins. Now let me tell you a little bit about the stage setting that is important on this particular program. And the learnership is a component of one's life philosophy. I didn't mention that earlier, that from my point of view, by the time you dig into this so long and so many dimensions, it almost becomes a philosophy of life. It's not just a package of things you could do and learn and do. So in my point of view, we're talking about a philosophy of what is worth learning, what is worth knowing, and what is worth doing, and that's the philosophy of life. Viewed from a broad perspective, learnership practitioners, which you could be one, maintain a distinctive worldview that frames their thinking, learning, knowing, leading, and behavior. Their inclination to determine the who, what, when, where, why, and how, and for whom on a wide range of societal issues and human activities signifies a sense of personal responsibility for contributing to the welfare of themselves, their organizations, and their communities. So that's what we're about. And what learnership has done is create a methodology for approaching the whole idea is how do I get my mind around everything that's relevant in a systematic way that we could follow it. And we have figured that out, and that's one of the hardest things to do, is to take a lot of things and bring them together in a way that you can systematically look at them. Now, we've seen this before from the last program that we ran, and we're still in the business of having you optimize who you want to be and what you care about and who you're going to become. And you can decide at age 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60 to get involved in this. Anytime you get involved earlier, the earlier you learn it, the better you can do with it. And also, we're working our way through the book, and this is chapter 1. We got a long way to go. This is a 2-month course to go through and have lots of conversations and grow as a group and as a cohort. If you're working in a cohort, we would do this together and learn together. Now, going back to something like this is a reminder that we come back to this notion regularly to remind ourselves in a simple way that we basically have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reasoning competencies that really drive 1, 2, 3, 4 social platforms. The concept is from social science, which basically says that human beings, as well as animals, have a social structure in which they live in. And it's almost always about what they personally need, what they have to do to succeed, how they survive in their environment, and if it's the higher order animal like ourselves, it's how we actually push ourselves into that environment to achieve the things we want to achieve. So these are reasoning competencies and social systems development relationships. The whole first half of the program is involved in growing the capabilities to do this so that in the end, you have the capabilities to manage your life the way you want to manage your life. This is another same program, same concept, but look at the detail we're able to provide. In the end, once again, we're talking about human enlightenment that comes from the meta level. That's the highest level of our social relationships. And I'm calling that statesmanship. What it looks like here is statesmanship, when you behave in a way that reaches out to people far away and you try to coordinate with them. And it's the meta level for reasoning. If you back it up, It takes the common good and what you do in your local citizenship role that helps you become empowered to actually help in this role. But then again, this is based upon whether you're doing your personal fellowship role, your leadership role, that adds to your citizenship role, which adds to your statesmanship role. So any person, no matter how young they are or how old they are, if you've never thought about yourself as an entity in a larger social system, it could possibly be the reason why people feel excluded in society. In society, we have various socioeconomic problems, and to a large degree, the people who get it, that they are in a system that they could use, that they could move from system to system, and they can move through the domains, they get it. And they start going up the ladder of success. The people who no one ever tells that they have a relationship with the local people, another relationship here, another relationship here, and another relationship here, and it's all open to them through education. The best schools help students understand this. This is a socioeconomic opportunity to build a mind frame for younger people on how to think about themselves vis-a-vis the larger community that they're in. And again, all of these are driven by these reasoning competencies. Another way of thinking about this is people think about from a financial point of view and a physical point of view, are we building capital? Who has the capital? Who has the capital to invest? These 5 reasoning competencies also support the idea of physical capital. Who has the buildings? Who has the equipment? Who has the infrastructure? Who has the information technology? We call that physical capital. In the financial world, who's got the money? Who's got the assets, the liabilities, the shareholder capital? That's financial capital. But what I'm talking about is intellectual capital. Intellectual, cognitive, and emotional, even physical capital, which has to do with what do you know? What are your skills? What are your abilities? If we grow your abilities, if we put those abilities to work where there are systematic processes and tools and methodologies that you know how to use, and if you focus on customer satisfaction, you too could be an entrepreneur, an intrapreneur. It's the opportunity to think like that and to have somebody teach you how to think like that, that it causes success. That's why this is such an important thing, because it's a fundamental socioeconomic, political kind of way of thinking that we have going on here. And over all of this, we have it linked to basically 6 knowledge spheres. I've looked at various sources. The World Future Society had a way a few years ago. They organized all of the knowledge around the world that people had to deal with. They put it into social, political, economic, ecological, technological, geographical. Was the easy way to look at how societies are doing. A good way to look at knowledge. Who has knowledge? What kind of knowledge do they have? And also, if you look at people who write from the ethics and morals point of view, what I see, and it's also in some of our founding documents, that the things that come up that people want to experience are these right here. There are many more, and people can interpret them a little higher, a little lower, but we know that truth and honesty, love and happiness, justice and equality, those factors are in the hearts and minds of people who are our leaders, people who are really trying to make life better. So this model that we've created says that there are 6 areas of knowledge that you have to be competent in, and 6 areas of alliance or allegiance to how to think about yourself and others. And that's an overarching view of how you choose to live your life, and everything is designed that it supports that kind of relationship. And just to pull it all together, think, learn, know, lead, and achieve, right here. These are the personal, organizational, community. Here are the 6 knowledge spheres. This drives this. The universal ideals, that I just was talking about, and the universal goals. And if you push it back, how do they all get done? They get done because we have reasoning competencies, systems thinking, pattern recognition, knowledge management, and so forth. So these are input drivers that cause this to be the focus, which causes this to be the outcome. And it's a systematic methodology for getting where you want to go because you've already established a way of thinking. The issue for us is, who teaches this? Where is this taught? This is not hard. This is high school thinking. You want to fix the education system, we need to start teaching people the things they need to, the patterns they need to think with. Now, I have to tell you, as a person who does this a lot, there are people who want change and want to learn, and there are people who don't want change, and they don't really care about it. You may be in one basket or the other. Here are some of the people that I meet who I am paid to learn and develop. I am responsible for my life and career. Others depend on me for their living. I like change. It makes my life better. I want to be the best I can be. They're proactive people. They're around us at every age, every gender, every culture. Lots of people like that. A lot of them can't get started. Just can't find a way to get started. Then there's a lot of people, and I've done enterprise transformation. What's in it for me? I'm already good at what I do. Don't reduce my role or influence. Don't bother me. Leave me alone. Don't interfere with me. Nothing is ever really new. It's the same old, same old. More work, less pay? I think not. And so my experience has been, people tell me just who they or you think they are, which is to say, I worked for an Air Force project, and the people who reported to the general and the colonel said, basically, what do I care about what you were paid to do? I've been doing this for 30 years. Don't tell me how to do my job, and don't even tell me to work harder at doing my job, and the guy who hired you can't tell me what to do anyway. That's pretty strong resistance to change. And when you get that, I don't want a part of it. I made good money at it, but boy, I'll tell you, it was not a good place to work. So my point on that is that what we try to bring to the fore is something called mindfulness. Mindfulness is the idea, now if you're aware of it, mindfulness is getting very popular in today's culture. People are taking complete courses on mindfulness. Unfortunately, they're wrong. 30 years ago, I was doing behavioral modification for stress reduction, and we did a lot of the same things that they're doing now in these mindfulness programs. The problem with mindfulness programs in general is that they tell you to check out from everything around you and just look at yourself and go into yourself and check your steps and feel your body and those kinds of things. But what mindfulness that way is doing, it's taking you out of the game, out of the arena, and not giving you any tools. It gives you a place to hide out while you rest before you come back in. This mindfulness, going with the actual definition, what you're bearing in mind, attentive, observant, and responsive according to the dictionary, is proactive. Because this mindfulness, what I'm explaining here, this mindfulness is about building a brain that's ready to think because it's got the structures, it's got the foundation, it's got the linkages, it has the patterns ready to go. And it's ready to put the mind to work because the world needs productive people, not people trying to get away from their responsibilities, which is a problem a lot of places. So let me just say that we are definitely against unconscious, motivated not knowing. The influence of pre-established values and perceptions. In other words, 20 years ago, that's how we believed, and it's still good today. We don't have to change anything. Excessive trust in experts with little real basis for their views. They're academics, and they're just writing things. They don't even actually do anything. I said, so what I'm talking about, what's different in this program is if you're going to do mindfulness, you're going to learn tools and skills and ways to do things better. You're going to build mental frameworks because this is a left brain, right brain, whole brain transformation opportunity. And therefore, that's just something that I'd like to know how well you're going to do when you start doing it.